Happy Sabbath. Today, scripture reading, Psalm 92, verses 1 to 3. It is good to give thanks to the Lord and to sing praises to your name, O Most High, to declare your loving kindness in the morning and your faithfulness every night. On an instrument of strings, and the lute, and on the harp with harmonious sound.
Happy Sabbath, brothers and sisters. It's a delight for me to be here and make this humble presentation. And I will say to God be the glory. A little while back, I was just leaving the hospital. I remember Brother Pete brought me the mic to express my appreciation. I said briefly, I thank God to glory. I was there and today I'm here again. But I remember also my testimonial later then. Anybody could recall that. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto his name, O Most High. I'm going to go through Psalm 92 while Tom is getting ready a short snap of a video that I'll watch. To shew forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night, upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands, O Lord. How great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thy enemies, O Lord, for lo, thy enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shall thou exalt like the horn of an unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. My eye also shall see my desire of my enemies, and my ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. It shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age, shall be fat and flourishing. To shew that the Lord is upright, he is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. A little boy broke his piggy bank, took the change and counted it carefully. When, after counting, he discovered that he only had thought he couldn't make a mistake after counting it. He placed the coins in a jar, twisted on the cap, and found out that that video appears to be a little bit fast. Maybe you can stop. I will just narrate the episode. After counting the piggy bank, he discovered that the amount of money he had there was $1.13. Earlier that morning, the father was asking for a miracle to happen, and that was the only thing the boy had. When he went to his piggy bank, he noticed the amount of money he had in the piggy bank, $1.30. After counting it, he left the house to a pharmacy store nearby, waited and got the attention of the pharmacist. By the time the pharmacist attended to him, the young boy was curious to let the pharmacist know that all he wanted was miracle pill. Miracle pill, the pharmacy asked. Don't have a miracle pill here. Incidentally, there is a gentleman standing by the pharmacist in a well-articulated suit. He had what the boy was asking for, and then approached him. What is it that you wanted? The boy asked miracle, and he asked him, how much money do you have? Notice he had $1.30. Said, yes, that is how much it costs for you to get a miracle. And what happened to you? The boy explained that he is very, very sick at home, and they needed money to get her healed. But the amount of money he had on him was $1.13. If the pharmacist asks for more, he will be more than glad to add to that. So, the gentleman now said, you've come to the right man. The gentleman that overheard him was the chief executive of a hospital that had all the wherewithal to perform said operation in the sister. He went to their house and took the daughter to the hospital, and the surgery that needs to be performed was done successfully, and all it cost the boy was that $1. It's really a miracle. Jesus worked in a miraculous manner. I had a cardiac arrest a while back. Was taken to the hospital. During the time I'm talking about, I had a gap in my insurance. The private insurance I was having was to be taken over by the Medicare. I wonder how many of us that are here that is under 60-year-old. There anyone that is under 60? Maybe we only have one or two. So it's God's making that certain things happen to us, and it happens for a reason. By the time I left the hospital, not only did I have Medicare, I also obtained Medicaid. I was having a breakfast with my wife when I slumped. What happened, I cannot even tell. All I had was the sound of the ambulance team coming in to take me to the hospital. And by the time it brought me out from where I was lying, I felt all sweat around me. It took me down to hospital, and I want to thank my wife, the wonderful support she gave me. While at the hospital, we both checked into the hospital. For the 3 days we were there, she was with me. It was from the hospital, she called her place of work to let them know that I had an emergency. If there's anything I want to thank God for, not only because I'm standing before you, because the Lord has given me the grace to be here. To God be the glory. Almost thereafter, not as a surprise, I received my family is an invitation to visit Israel. That is part of the slides. I've been here sometimes, I've seen people sharing their story in pictures. This is one that might possibly be testimonial what God is doing in my life. Glory. Enjoy the show. I don't know whether we will have it on. Sorry if some of the pictures you are looking at is personal. They are pictures I took with my wife and part of the church members that she attends from time to time. And maybe I can also share this as we look through that it's been a little while that my wife has come to church, but she does attend another church somewhere else. But to the glory of God, while the congregation at the pilgrims were expressing where they are from, and I expressed to them, Tunji Kalejaiye is Seventh-day Adventist. And I'm from Southwest Seventh-day Adventist Church, Orland Park. All they know is not Illinois. What they want to hear is Chicago. They all exclaimed and was happy. And sitting right behind me was my wife. I thought she was going to declare for the other church, but she let them know that she is a Seventh-day Adventist and she's a member. And I'm glad to see her here today. Like I said, so many of the pictures we took, just look at the background, not necessarily who is reflecting in the front. These are the inside of the churches we attended, and we were able to see what is going on. As a matter of fact, we will get to a point, I will explain certain things that it might be worth considering for us as a church. And you heard me ask a question, how many are under 60? Then maybe what shall you be asking is, how many is between the age 25 and 30 or 35 in the congregation? We do not appear to have many more or many of those. We have our children. and grandchildren attending other churches. I look forward to seeing a situation where and when we will bring them back to us. I want to be part of that movement. I've been in Southwest Seventh-day Adventist from when we used to be in Tinley Park. And I know then that we used to be a full crowd. And here in this church, we also merged with another church by the time this church was bought. It's glad in my heart that this is a church of ours, a building that is owned by Southwest SDA. It will be gratifying to see our children, our grandchildren worshiping with us in unity. Some of the things we are seeing here reflect so much about the situation in Israel, and that is a faraway country. The Jerusalem of now, maybe the Jerusalem of the old, is the one that we are all reading from the Bible. But in a very special way, Jerusalem of the old is presented to the pilgrims. The only thing is that the archaeologists worked on it. Some of the wonders of the Bible that I and others managed to see are tremendous. The city itself, how divided between the Palestinians and the Jews. The separation of what I will call the Gentiles from the Jews is only what we talked about outside that country. There are situations wherein we don't even know the difference between the Jews and the Palestinians that are living in Jerusalem while we were there. For the protection of those of us who are pilgrims, there is high security. Going to Jerusalem is like going through the airport on some occasions, because they have to search you to know what you are carrying. And at the airport, we do not see something different. They are particular about the security of those who are around there, especially this issue with Jerusalem. And that reminds me of quite some things from personal experience. Those of us who left our homeland, give myself as an example. I left Nigeria I've been back and forth since 1976 when I first came to the US. And I realized there are some of us that are still permanent resident since that time I left. If we were to go back home, some people have already dominated where we left. Not to talk of people who left 300 years ago. You have to deal with the situation in certain ways for them to accommodate you. Otherwise, they don't want you. because they feel the property you are coming to claim is theirs. And it reminds me of a Nigerian Yoruba adage that says, "A kì í pín ogún ilé de ọmọ oko," translated to mean, if you go to the farm and stay there for a long time, your heritage is never left behind for you. Those who are there takes over. I believe that is the situation with Israel. I will leave this to theologians to look into. There are other areas that I saw the Christian priests, most of them are predominantly Catholic. They will even see us and talk Nigerian language to us because they've been to Africa, they also lived in Nigeria. So when they saw those of us from Nigeria, they can recognize us. As a matter of fact, part of the pillars you see inscribed there is donated by a Nigerian state governor. And when we got there, myself and my wife took a picture. Not this one you are seeing, but it's on another area. But let me just, because I noticed we have quite an array of pictures that we may not necessarily want to go through, so that it wouldn't be like I took over the Sabbath. But whoever will want to enjoy this more, you will be able to see them. I'll leave this for the benefit of members of the church for them to look into. So in one of the occasions that we met with the priests that these are charitable organizations that manage and see to the welfare of the churches. Sometimes we have to wait for the mass or the worship that is being conducted to finish before we come in. And they know that Africans, when we come in, we are a little bit loud in our worship. They allow us to do it our way. The praise worship can be very loud, but that is the way we do it, and God answers prayers. As a matter of fact, I witnessed there is a lady that came from the way from Nigeria who is an evangelist. She used her concert to evangelize the congregation. So we were privileged to have her amidst the congregations or the pilgrims that came from Nigeria. I noticed in one of the CDs or video that she brought to us, she had a concert for 14 good hours. They started the concert 5 p.m. in the evening, and it was ended 7 a.m. the following morning. How they were able to do it, I don't know, but I noticed that there's a lot of activities, excitement, and singing and dancing throughout. It's always going to be something, I would say, maybe we will synchronize. Sometimes, year 2002, I visited my son at Andrews University. We got there, me and myself and my wife got there Friday night. No, we were there Friday night. Wanted to worship with them in the morning of the Sabbath. So we were looking for the place of worship. Notice they had the young people's church, like the youth church. Yeah. When we got there, it was such a full congregation that we had no place to sit. And the type of bands, the instrument, the strings that they got there, by the way, before that picture that we just show is that of Peter, the image of Peter. Whether, yes, that the rock. In the sculpture of this, one of the churches, right there. So, what I want to bring about in the story I was telling about my son is the fact that I heard from the pastor saying they had all those sound instruments and that type of environment which is conducive for the youths, because they want to stop them from leaving Andrews, which is Bering Spring, to come into Chicago to come and look for dates at the University of Chicago or Illinois, University of Illinois, that they can stay on campus and meet each other. What you are going about to look for in Chicago is right here at Bering Spring. I believe here at Southwest, we can also create an enabling environment for our youths. I used to be an elder at North Shore Seventh-day Adventist. Chicago. There for almost about 11, 12 years before we moved to Orland Park. That is when I decided that it was a long commute for me to be living in Henley Park and going to North Shore. It's about 40 miles away. I remember then that we will finish worship, and immediately after potluck, to see people going inside their car to change so that they can start volleyball, basketball, and gaming activities Sabbath afternoon, towards Sabbath evening, before they all go back home. All those type of activities draw children. We have enough physical structure in this church to accommodate our kids. It's by way of subjection, without being political. A lot is going on around us by way of unity, depending on how we see it. How do we unite our kids, our children, our family? I do not want a situation where I will look back and say, I'm the only one that is saved. What happened to my wife? What happened to my children? I'd like for them to be part of me. If I'm qualified, let me use the word qualified, doing the right thing, doing the truth, and then saying that me, my children, my family, loved ones will be part of that heavenly kingdom we are all looking forward part of. In everything, let's appreciate God. I am not here to really sermonize. The theologians will do that. and seeing so many of them coming to talk to us. I'm privileged to be part of the Sabbath school that we had this morning. There is no better truth that you can hear of than that I heard from Tom. So many of that I've always had. Having, sorry I'm mentioning names, has been instrumental portraying the truth. The Adiosh Foguns met them around here. I remember we visited a church somewhere in Chicago Heights. Told me then that people who really formed that church when they first started were the Adiosh Foguns. They are not there. They are here. This is where they worship. I strongly believe that we can be together, stay together, and prepare the world coming of God help us. Closing, not want to stop this so that the images or the pictures we are looking will be too monotonous for us. And I wouldn't want to use the situation to hijack, let me use the word hijack, the Sabbath from those who feel like, oh, this might be our personal thing. It's part of me as a person to share. I love that. And if there is anything, maybe Capernaum, the town of Jesus. That's a place I noticed one thing. The truth we often read about in the Bible is very well expressed here. We saw that many generations have passed. Understand, the city to Capernaum is about 2,000 years before Christ. And Jericho was 10,000, the oldest city, Israel, Jericho. But Capernaum, the way it was and the way it is now, is hanging on the course Jesus made city. We saw layers of blocks, how the Israeli government is trying to rebuild Capernaum. But no matter how they do, the amount of resources put on it was not possible for them to rebuild. The city till today is still desolate. Those of us who read the Bible knew what Jesus talked about when he compared the work he did in Capernaum. He wished he has done same in Sodom and Gomorrah. And let me say this. If you go to Israel today and you find out that even the Jews there do not accept Christ, what a curse. I pray that the Lord, in his infinite mercy, will reveal the truth those of us who need it. And it will go thus far too, to the Jews that I think deserve to know it. You can see the column as it is hanging. Other churches around are rebuilt, but this they could not do. The city Capernaum still remain desolate. I pray that that will not be the experience we will have till Jesus comes. In Jesus' mighty name. Earlier on, I mentioned priests that visited visited 21 African countries, including Nigeria and Ghana. They all came back to Israel and established church where they now feel like it's of great importance for them to create a united church. These are Christian brothers, Christian priests that left their home country to go to Africa, but come back to settle in Israel. I believe they built a church. Part of the churches they built is called the Armenian Church in Israel. So the tour guide that took us around do not want a situation where people will come to Israel and be claiming, oh, we are Pentecostal, we are Leon, we are St. James's, or Seventh-day Adventist. Why? I asked him. He said, because we are minority. The Christians in the land of Israel is barely 2%, by 126,000 of 8.5 million population. So, of what value will it be if 126,000 Christians among 8.5 million are now claiming within themselves, showing that, oh, I'm a Catholic. They all stay together, united, so that they can fight common goal, and that is to win soul, Christ. I saw reason what he talked about, but for me as a Seventh-day Adventist, is that something I'll be glad to do? Because three things happened there when I was there. Here is, we have the Jews. As a matter of fact, incidentally, the week we were there, the Monday, the Tuesdays and Wednesday, we were there was a great festivity they call Yom Yang. It's a holiday, Jewish holiday, the Day of Atonement. I think it's very well versed in the Bible. So the whole city is completely closed. We could not move around in that part of Israel except where the Palestinians stay. So, by the way, that is the River Jordan. I took time to The only thing I didn't do, because the pilgrims that came over there to have a special type of baptism. But by the special grace of God, since I'm a baptized Seventh-day Adventist, I don't feel the need to go there for another baptism. All I just did was to use that same water, wash my hand, and also maybe have a face wash. But if you look in one of the pictures, you see people that went there purposely to have another type of baptism. So, and I think the same thing with my wife. That's where I was using the River Jordan. To use it to wash my face, and my wife did the same thing. And I don't know whether before this one or at another there is a ritual bath. That one is something that really I felt is worth mentioning. That's a different place where you have the Dead Sea. I believe there is something special in God's creation. Dead Sea is one of them. 1,000 feet, actually below the sea level, is the Dead Sea. People go there like in the days of Jesus to take a bath. I remember about 5 ladies, including one man, took their shower in the Dead Sea because they've heard before they left Nigeria that if only they can get to the Dead Sea, whatever ailment they have in their body will go away. And it is I have no reason not to believe that, because I remember my wife expressing the same thing. She only used the water on her knee, where he's always having problem, and ever since she's had relief. God's is wonderful. God's miracle is still being wrought in Israel. At least I witnessed and I saw that. If there's anything that will be encouraged, is maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, we can see members of this congregation making a provision or preparation to witness Israel, Jerusalem. Aye. God bless us. I want to appreciate your accommodation of this presentation, the glory of God. Some will just end the presentation. We can sing our closing hymn.
ground. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lead me up an anxious